Hey guys, this is the Sports Hub. I'm Connor O'Gara. Week 4 of high school football is in the books. Week 5 approaching, almost the halfway point of the season already. We have a loaded show to get to today. We want to talk about Bobby Bowden, who's going to be at the Wood River Gibbon game this weekend. We want to talk about the Kearney Catholic Cozad game last weekend. We want to talk also about a Pleasanton and Loomis game, and then we want to get to Coach's Corner with Elm Creek's Jayce Dueland. But before we talk about any of that, we do 3 stars in this program. And the first one we're going to talk about, maybe the best all-around performance in the Hub territory this season. That was from Hunter Quinn of Southern Valley. Man, just did it all. 372 yards, all-purpose yards, 5 touchdowns. He kicked 3 PATs. He had 6 tackles in that one. Just impossible to find something Hunter Quinn couldn't do. Eagles get a 54-18 win against Bayard. And Quinn did all that. He had over 200 yards receiving too, and did it with Chance Best at quarterback. Not to slight Chance Best, but Jeremiah Perkins has been the guy that's been throwing to Hunter Quinn for the past 3 seasons. Best steps up and has an important game, important bounce back game for the Eagles. And then the second star we're going to look at, Nathan Howe of Cozad. Man, I don't like to throw around the B word too often, but beast mode is about the only way that I can describe that performance. 233 rushing yards, he gets a touchdown, 14 tackles, leads the Stars in every way, shape, and form of that game. Just an unbelievable game for Howe and for the Stars. They get that redemption win, a 27-20 victory against defending C1 champion Cozad. Howe a big part of that. Third star we're going to look at, this is a little atypical. Don't call me out on this one. Mauricio Santos, a kicker of Lexington. Why are we putting a kicker in 3 stars, you ask? Well, you get a game-winning kick, that probably puts you in 3 stars. That's exactly what Santos did. The Minutemen get a win against the Lions. It's the first 3-game winning streak for Lexington since 2008. They haven't made the playoffs since 2009. If Santos keeps hitting big kicks like that, and especially with a tough schedule coming up, Lexington could very easily be ending that drought this year. We just talked about it with Nathan Howe, but in Friday Night Rewind, we first want to start with the big headliner game in C1. Kearney Catholic beats Cozad, gets a 27-20 victory against the Haymakers in Cozad too, more impressively, and just did it by dominating in the trenches. Rushed for over 300 yards in that one, and the offensive line really took over in the second half. You talk about a physical presence that those guys brought, it was obvious, and Nathan Howe was able to get a good head of steam, and that's why he was able to stay fresh and stay active on both sides of the ball in that one. Really, the line stepped up in the biggest possible way in that game. Now Kearney Catholic moves up to number 4 in C1. The Stars have a legitimate chance to run the table this year in the regular season. They definitely have a few tests coming up. Not going to be an easy road to get there, but you look at a win like Cozad and what that can do for a program. Just a big weight off their shoulders, I'm sure. A huge win for the Stars. Can't underestimate the importance of that one going forward. And then the second game that I want to look at, Pleasanton gets a win against Loomis, 34-18. Did it in convincing fashion. We talked about Colton Lammers last week in 3 stars, and again, he got the Bulldogs going in that one. Buck Mahoney, sports editor Buck Mahoney, just in case you haven't heard of him, he was high on the Bulldogs this year. He said this is a team that's going to make big strides, thinks that could be a team that's definitely competing at the end and maybe getting into one of those semifinal, quarterfinal type games. And if the Bulldogs really keep playing like this, I mean, obviously they got a tough schedule coming up. They got Anselmo Myrna this upcoming week. Well, just ask Elwood about Anselmo Myrna, who put up 80 points against them. But a tough test coming up this week. If they can somehow get through a game against Anselmo Myrna, look out for Pleasanton because the Bulldogs are coming on strong. It seems like the first show in a while that we've gotten through a few minutes without talking about Christian Best yet. A 3-star staple, a big reason as to why Elm Creek is 3-0 already this season. They have a game coming up against Shelton. Are going to look to continue that offensive outburst that they've had so far. I got a chance to catch up with Elm Creek coach Jayce Dueland in this edition of the Coach's Corner.
Our offense is clicking on all cylinders right now, and I think we have 6 punts on the year, and usually they're in the second half, so that's always really, when you can only have 6 punts and a few turnovers in 3 games, your offense is doing something correct. I like the way our offense line's been playing recently, and we got a great back in Christian Best that really can hit the hole, and once he breaks that first line, he has a great chance of breaking it to make a touchdown. The best thing about Christian, he has that will to never go down. He really he's got great balance and always keeps his feet underneath him. If he gets hit once, it takes more than one kid to bring him down. Nick's really take control. We've unleashed the reins of our offense into his hands. He has all capabilities of checking up at the line and running a different play that he feels is going to be better. So he's done a really great job of taking control of the game. It's his second year. He's really got control of and understands the game. That's nice to have as a quarterback. We can really compete against ourselves to make ourselves better. And if we get a nick or two the last couple weeks, we knew that we'd have the opportunity to only play a half or 3/4. That's always a luxury. And on the other end, yeah, you want those longer games till our season's going to get a little tougher here in a little bit with Arapahoe and Blue Hill and Axtell. We know when the district championship's on the line, we got to be able to play 4 quarters.
Usually I talk about a player or a game or something different than what to watch for. But this week I'm going to talk about a spectator. That spectator is all-time college football wins leader, Bobby Bowden, longtime Florida State coach, is going to be in town this weekend. He's going to be at the Wood River Gibbon game as part of the Max Preps rivalry series. Bowden, of course, is going to be garnering a lot of attention in that one. He's going to be able to address the teams before the game, talk to the crowd at halftime, probably address the teams after the game too, and then be on his way. That's going to be one of those really cool things to see. If you're in the area, definitely want to check that out. I remember when I was in elementary school going to a game that Michael Jordan was at, and because his kids played basketball in my area, and the entire crowd spent the game watching Michael Jordan watch his kids instead of actually watching the game. I imagine it will be something similar to that in Gibbon this weekend. And then the other thing that I'm watching out for this weekend, Kearney High. Kearney High really has not had a bad game yet this year. Brandon Kuhl's bunch has been ready to go. Was ready to go last week, got a nice 45-16 victory against Papio. Brian Arp, Noah Urbanik had huge games for the Bearcats. And really, Kearney, if you look at it right now, the way that their schedule shakes out, this is a team that could easily be 7-2, getting a top 5, top 6 seed in the Class A playoffs. I would not be surprised to see that at all. If the Bearcats keep clicking on all cylinders like the way that they have been in the early part of this season, watch out. Are you a coach in the Hub territory that isn't seeing your results show up in the paper and wants to see your results in the paper? Chances are we're not getting them. If you've been sending us your results, but we haven't been putting them in the paper, shoot us an email at sports@kearneyhub.com. There's probably been some sort of a mix-up. I don't know how exactly Max Preps is sending out those emails, but we're not getting them. I promise you, we're not just keeping your stats in our email queue. We want to get those stats out. We want to have complete and total coverage on those Friday night games in Saturday's paper. So definitely make sure you get those in, or find a way, just get in touch with us. We want to be able to get those in as well. So get in touch with me, get in touch with Buck Mahoney, and we'll work something out. That'll do it for another edition of the Sports Hub. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. We're going to be providing coverage on Friday nights. If you're a coach, make sure you're getting all those stats into us and emailing those. Preview for next week, we're actually going to be doing a mid-season award show. You're definitely going to want to check that out. So for Connor O'Gara, this has been the Sports Hub. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.